Hello, I'm Sharon Young, Director and Lead Consultant at Pearl Captors, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this Leading Change programme. This short video will provide you with some information on the content, structure and style of the programme, as well as to clarify expectations, both of what you could expect from us and what we'll be asking from you. Firstly, let me tell you a little bit about my background and why I'm so passionate about this topic. I started my career in the private sector, mostly in customer service and admin roles, before moving into management and then leadership. I started with a team of 6 people, and within 5 or 6 years, I progressed to head of department with 150 employees and multiple teams, supervisors and managers reporting to me from across 3 sites. I experienced change programs initially as a first-line manager, with the task of making sense of the strategic intent and supporting my team through the process. I then was part of a program to amalgamate 3 different computer systems as we merged with other organisations, and managing the impact again on my team and trying to influence the wider organisation. As I moved up into more senior roles, I was then exposed to much more of that strategic side of things and looking at the bigger picture rather than just what was happening within my own teams. And then finally, I moved into the other side, first as a change manager and then as a program manager. So during this time, I was then responsible for different aspects of some global projects, particularly focusing around the communication piece and how we organise the different strands of multiple programs and multiple projects together. So these different roles have helped me to view change from a number of different perspectives. And in that time, I've seen some changes that were managed really well and some that were managed really, really badly, and can see the impacts of those, both on the people that are going through the change, but also on the ultimate success of the programme. And certainly there's research that says up to 60% of change programmes never achieve their original objectives. And for me, a huge part of that is because of the people side of things. And that's very much what this programme is going to be focusing on. So let's move now on to a little bit about the style of the programme. So the first thing is to say that our programme is what we call blended learning. It combines a range of different activities over a period of time. Now, evidence shows that learning is a process, not an event, and it's only when people really try out techniques in context and make mistakes that the learning is embedded. So therefore, we've designed this programme as a series of modules with both individual and group work before and after each module. We'll be asking you to complete some e-learning modules through the College of Policing and also a number of self-directed workplace activities. We'll be supporting you with a range of different reference materials throughout the programme. So for each of the 2 modules, you'll have a workbook that will contain all of the activities that we'll be carrying out and giving you space to make notes as we go through those. There'll be a support pack for the programme overall. We'll have much greater information about all of the topics that we're talking about if you want to explore any of them further. And we're also supplying 2 toolkits. One is our Change Your Projects toolkits, which contains a number of different tools that you might use throughout the change process. But we're also including the Systems Thinking Toolkit, as this is a core part of the programme in helping to look at the wider aspects of change and how it fits into the wider organisation and the system beyond that. Interaction and collaboration is a really key part of this, both as that helps us to learn and to get a wider variety of views from other people, but also again it's about how we practice. So to help you to embed the learning, you're going to be working in mixed groups to apply the theories to real changes. And this is going to, as we said, hopefully encourage networking with leaders from other areas as well. We say on the slide, no bystanders. Your input to this is essential. It's not just about being on the workshop and watching sort of remotely with your camera off. We really do need to share your experience and to get people involved. So please do keep your cameras on wherever you possibly can and take part in the conversations, whether you're doing that verbally or using the chat function. But it's really, really important that we hear everyone's views and get everyone involved, because that makes a better process for everybody. So we said things are going to be contextual. We're getting you to think both about real projects that people will know across the organisation, but also to look at how you apply this to changes that are happening or may be happening in your own areas. The programme is very informal. We want people to be able to speak freely, and we are quite flexible. Although there are some key things we need to cover, we often change and spend a bit more time on one topic or another topic based on what the interest is of each group. So I'm now going to explain a little bit more about what you'll be doing both during and between the various modules. As you can see on this slide, we are seeing this very much as a journey from the outset. Further details of this journey and the tasks and actions that are required within each stage of them are contained in the Learner's Guide. This is attached to the meeting invitation where you would have found the link to this video. So we're currently at the start of the journey on Engage and Prepare. So this video is part of that. We're also going to ask you to complete a self-assessment. We've created a leading change questionnaire looking at both knowledge and competencies that are important to really effectively lead change. This is an online questionnaire, and you again will find the link to that within the covering meeting invite for this. At the moment, we're looking at this as a self-assessment for you to do yourself, and we will then send you a PDF of your report. However, if you want to, you might want to look at doing this as a 360. If you wanted to do that, we have again attached a Word version of the assessment that you might want to use with your own colleagues. This is a process, though, that you will manage yourself. The next stage to complete before the first module is building and refreshing core knowledge. This is a key part of the programme, and we have looked at existing resources and identified 2 e-learning programmes that are within the College of Policing website. And we would like you to work through these. One of them is quite short, should only take about 5 minutes or so. The other one is a little bit longer. And we detail in the Learner's Guide the sections of that we would like you to complete. There are some further sections you may want to, if time permits, but we do realise that everyone is very, very busy. As well as these 2 e-learning packages, we also attach to the meeting invite a copy of the Policing Vision 2025. Some of you may already be familiar with this, but if you're not, then now's a good time to familiarise yourself, as it is important because it sets the scene for all of the changes that are going on within policing right now. A key part of the programme is to be reflecting on what you learn. So once you've completed the 2 e-learning programmes, we'd like you to consider what came out from that in terms of the different models. In the Learner's Guide on page 5, there are a few questions for you to just think about, which will then lead into the first module. So then we get together for a whole day, although we are going to make sure we have some decent breaks within that, as we appreciate that online learning can be very tiring. The first workshop is going to be focusing really on exploring and planning change. So there'll be an introduction to leading change from Richard Bullock, your head of change. And then we'll be looking at an overview of what change is like in the 21st century and the impact of that on both individuals and organisations. We'll explore some different change models. Some of these may be ones you're familiar with, some that may be quite new to you, and we'll look at them in context of some changes that you and the organisations have already been through. We will look a little bit here at systems thinking and understanding the wider system that your project or your department is part of, and how what goes on outside affects you, and also how what you do affects others. And we're particularly looking at the role of the leader and exploring the personal change process that individuals go through, and looking at types of resistance that people will have. So the first module is very much setting the scene and understanding what some of the key theories are, some of the key processes are. Between the 2 workshops, we then have a period of reflecting, embedding, and some self-directed workplace learning. So we'll be getting you individually to be reviewing your personal learning and to thinking about what are the areas you want to learn more about and using the resources as you want to. We'll also be splitting you into what we're calling peer support groups, and there's 2 purposes for these groups. So firstly, each group will be working on a different live change project, and will be applying the concept and answering the questions that we have in relation to their change project. So we'll be asking you to meet up in between the two modules and to apply what we've done on module 1 to your particular project. And that will help you to be prepared then for the activities we're going to be doing on module 2. Also, your peer support group is there to provide you with additional support as you're learning. So you might want to make some personal commitments to them about actions that you're going to take. You might want to share some challenges that you have and ask for their input and ideas. So this aspect is very much formed on the concept of action learning sets. And there is further information about action learning in section 2 of the Learner's Guide. The second workshop then is about how you lead that transition, about how we become more agile and how we create a culture that can cope with constant change and uncertainty. So we'll spend most of the time working with your live change, and we'll apply a range of techniques to leading that transition, how you can help people by creating a purpose, a picture, a plan and a part for them to play. We'll look at how we might deal with some of that resistance and how you can make change sustainable. But also, in the ever-changing world, it's not just about coping with one change after another. So our aim is to shift your focus from just managing change to embracing the uncertainty that exists in the world today, and to help you and your team to be able to cope and adapt more quickly and more effectively. This is something that we call agility. So the final aspect we're going to be looking at then, we'll then be looking at how you can create an agile culture. So we'll introduce you to a really great model of creating and assessing culture that we call a cultural web, and get you to look at what things you can do to help create that truly agile culture. Finally, again, after the module, we'll be getting you to have some review of your learning and what we call make it happen. So at the end of the program, we'll get you to do some learning reviews, and we'll finish the workshop with having a program evaluation. After that, we're going to ask you to continue to work on your areas of key focus, linking back to your self-assessment that you did right at the beginning. So that's the rough program flow that we're going to be going through. Now, obviously, I recognise that you're all going to have different levels of experience and different knowledge. So there may be some aspects of the content that you're already familiar with. If so, I would say please use these times as a refresher and as an opportunity to look at things from a different perspective, incorporating the views of others and their different backgrounds. And also as an opportunity to help support those with less knowledge than you by giving them the benefit of your own experience. This is going to be a really interactive and interesting program, and I'm sure there will be something for everybody. I hope this video has whetted your appetite to get started on the program. I look forward to meeting you very soon.